Welcome to Global Information Security Society for Professionals of Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum ji. My name is Syed Abid Ali and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder of PhishRod. I just wanted to thank all of you first of all. आप लोगों का बहुत-बहुत शुक्रिया. I know it's a bit Ramadan times and working from home is also not easy, and I could see the kind of response that we had received so far for this 1 hour workshop. It was just tremendous. So just to give you a background, it was only about we gave 3.5 days for this whole registration process to complete, and we had received over about 120 plus registrations so far. We have tried to cover almost all of the people who could join, but in case if we've missed some people, so we regret and we apologize for sharing the invite with them. But just now quickly focusing towards what I'm going to talk about in the next 1 hour. Primarily, more of it I don't want to talk about much. I just want to show you the way we have developed this framework, because a lot of these requests were coming to us from our customers that how could we automate the entire awareness programs. These COVID-19 related phishing emails are coming thick and thin. So what could be done about those? So in the next 1 hour or so, I will take you through towards a few of the questions that we had in our mind, and we collectively tried to resolve them. Now, in terms of the protocol, the way it's going to work out is that I would request all of you to keep your mics on the mute, and if you've got any question at any particular time, you can feel free to drop in the chat box, and while I'm delivering the session, and after the session it can be an open house, and I will let Shahzad to moderate this. With that, I also want to thank GISPP team, because they have been great in terms of putting up this whole cybersecurity diaspora, from Pakistan and from every other origin. The reason why it is also very important for us to, whenever we have taken any initiative at PhishRod, we've always given a very huge weightage to this platform, because I'm sure all of you and would agree when I say this, that this cybersecurity industry actually had started from Pakistan. I come from a background of McAfee, and in this autobiography, John McAfee says that he was working in Unisys when he received the copy of the first virus that was produced by the Brain brothers, the BrainNet, the guys who own BrainNet here. So in practical, had these guys not developed the virus, McAfee would have never come out as a first commercial antivirus. Hence, I believe that the industry that we have right now, as cybersecurity, about 1.4 billion, approximately $150 billion, it owes a lot to Pakistan, and hence, we need to do a lot more. And I can see already there is a lot of tremendous, contribution that's there from this Pakistani diaspora on cybersecurity. So with this, I'm just going to quickly share my screen with you guys, and I've just put together a small slide deck which I'm going to share with you. It contains only 6-7 slides, but the agenda is more to discuss the framework than more of a discussion. So it's the prime agenda right now, that how can we develop a framework for preemptive defense against COVID-19 related phishing scams. Now, this term honestly has been a little overrated now. It more than a problem, it turned out to be a marketing stint that every vendor eventually ended up pulling up this nice jargon of bringing about this sorry, my bad, of bringing about this whole discussion about COVID-19 related phishing scams. So what we just want to talk about, what we just wanted to talk to you about, is that any organization, whether we talk about COVID-19 related phishing scams or any kind of general scams, let's first do a bit of a triage of an organization. So when we look at any organization, your organization, mine, or anyone's organization, it is divided into the three parts: the people part, the process part, and the technology part. Now, when we come down towards this, the technology, the people, the process, it's been a long journey. There has been a lot of technology controls that have been put into place, a lot of wonderful processes that have been developed that are already, being used by different organizations. And at the same time, there is a lot of work that is being done related to the people, and all these three, they actually combine together to ensure that you have some kind of a defense in depth mechanism. I know this definition varies from organization to organization, but by and large, you have controls at the people level, you have controls at the process level, and you have controls at the technology level to ensure that you have all these kind of uh, threats being mitigated. Now, that's pretty interesting. That when you look at the technology front, there have been a multiple, every vendor talks about the different kind of threat vectors that they try to prevent, that they try to stop. But at the same time, if you look at it at the general level, these phishing scams, they see no boundaries technically. If you see all kind of phishing scams that we have, and you look at the dissection of the entire organization, on an average, an organization puts about 30 to 40 different kind of controls at the technology layer, starting from the firewall, then you have an IDS, an IPS, you may have an email gateway, a web gateway, a NAC or a DLP, a sandbox, an endpoint, a SIEM, and honestly, the count doesn't stop here. There could be numerous technology controls. For example, what we used to know as a firewall then turned out to be later as next generation firewall. What we used to know as an IPS turned out to be the next generation IPS, maybe 5, 7, 10 years down the lane. What we used to know as a SIEM after 10 years turned out to be the next generation SIEM. So all these things, all the technology advancements have been happening, but unfortunately, the problem that relates to phishing, that remains the same. As I mentioned, that I was working with McAfee, and we were having a quite a bit of a technical discussion with one of the CTOs of the region, and he did mention in one of the private discussions that even if you put 5 IPS or email security boxes in line to each other, still out of the 100 phishing emails, at least 4 to 5 would still land into the mailbox, and that problem still remains pertinent, regardless of whether it's COVID-related phishing emails, whether it's related to banking scams or any other kind of scams. The same thing still remains applicable. That one technology, one phishing email lands and ultimately bypasses the entire control and lands into the mailbox of an end user. Now, once a mail lands into the mailbox, that is where the real problem is. But I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the scale of the phishing scams during the COVID-19 times. Now, that's unfortunately the dilemma of the psyche of the hackers, that they try and play, and also us vendors, to be honest. That's the thing that we also need to take up, that as much as the hackers try to create much of a scene out of this whole situation, we as vendors have also created a bit of a euphoria around those things. But the issue is that the issue remains genuine. For example, very recently, Google, as part of their report, they mentioned that they have just identified and blocked almost 18 million phishing emails and malwares that are related to COVID-19 phishing scams or some sort. So that's a very significant volume in only 1 week. We're not talking about a year or a quarter. It's only in the last week of April that they claim that almost 18 million emails that they identified and blocked. Now, a few of them they would have been able to block, a few of them they would have not been able to, and there has been a 350% surge in the domains related to COVID-19. So somehow, somewhere, there has been a lot of things that is happening, and I'm sure, and even in Pakistan, I heard that State Bank of Pakistan has issued a circular that the organizations must test themselves against any COVID-19 related phishing scams to determine how prepared the end users are. And these emails generally have the same kind of thing. They use the fear, they use the financial incentives or any kind of such thing just to get one thing, which is a click. That's it. Just to pave the way to enter into the organization. So in general, it's the same email scam, but with a different subject line, because this COVID-19 has become the talk of the town these days. Everybody wants to know, everybody wants to stay updated. Hence, all it takes is just a one click. So with this perspective, what I wanted to discuss much is that few myths that we need to burst down, and those myths I'm going to practically burst down right now, and that would probably be of the last slides that I want to talk to you about. So the first and the most important part that I wanted to discuss right now is how about the putting technology controls to test. When I say that, what I actually mean, that actually means that if if there is an organization, or if there is anyone who believes that you know that I have 20 different controls in place, and I would not be able to receive any kind of phishing emails. Now that's a kind of myth that we really need to burst down. So for that practical purpose, I'm just gonna go back and into the practical mode and use PhishRod application, whereby I will try our best to determine or to ascertain that is it possible to spoof an email. If anybody believes that their email address, their domain cannot be used, that they cannot receive an email, or their email address or their domain cannot be used by someone else, that practically is not 100% accurate. I won't call it as a myth, but it won't be practically 100% possible. So for that purpose, I'm just going to switch it over to our PhishRod. Sorry, my bad. I just keep on receiving those requests, but okay, I'm just going to answer these questions in a bit. So yeah, the first question, the first thing as part of the framework that we just need to absorb and analyze is that, is my domain vulnerable to any such COVID-19 related phishing emails, or as a matter of fact, anyone? So there's two parts to it. One is, can I receive those emails, despite that I have got all the wonderful controls like email gateways, firewalls, IPSs, IDSs. The second part, can anyone use my email address to send any third party an email that relates to COVID, which means that I indirectly become a part of the cyber crime. So for that particular purpose, I'm just going to switch over into our application PhishRod, where I'm just going to run a quick demonstration for you that how can we sorry, my bad. I'm just going to do quick configurations and settings, create, a lot of work I've already done here. So I'm just going to create an organization, and I might require a couple of volunteers from my worthy audience so that we can, do this use case. So the first use case of this workshop is to determine that whether, our organizations are safe, can we receive a phishing email, or the second part of this, which is 1A and B. The B part is that, can my email address be used, as part of any COVID-19 related phishing scams? So I'm just going to run a quick demo here for you. And by the way, I would keep on mentioning here that for all the participants who have joined in here for this workshop, we are offering a 200 user free license for all the participants. So if anybody would want to use all those use cases in their organization, please feel free to write an email back to us at info, and all these participants are eligible for the entire 200 user license for all the use cases that I'm going to run here right now. So very quickly, I'm just going to create an organization, and in that organization, I'm just going to make a few settings. So this is just for the practical purposes and for the demonstration purposes. So here I'm going to create an organization. Excellent. I'm just going to give it a name, GSP workshop. And a few things that you need to remember is that the way PhishRod works is that we can determine, we can run those use cases, but for those use cases to be approved, we would need to create an approver for anyone. If you would use, these use cases in your organization, you would need to provide your administrator or the CISO's email address. So no phishing campaigns, no awareness campaigns would run without the approval of this email address. So I'm just going to put my details here. And that's it. All right. And then any phishing campaigns, any awareness campaigns, if you would like to send using PhishRod, they would have to be from this email address. I'm not going to put any kind of reminders. Any policy compliance related to work from home, I'm just going to show it to you how it works, but just one-time configuration, that's it. If just for the time being, I'm going to hold this for a while, but this is required for any incident analysis that you would want to take up, and if any advisories that you would like to send. That's it. So this is just like a one-time configuration that I did. And once this is done, the next step would be to actually import the users, from your Excel. If you had an AD, then you could do it from there. But if you have an Excel file, you could do it from there too. So here I've created an Excel file, and I would need a couple of volunteers actually to take part in this. I've already put names of my colleagues, myself, my other colleagues. And if anybody would like to be part of that campaign. So again, keep in mind the first use case that we are running related to this workshop is to bust this myth that I cannot receive a phishing email, or I'm too safe enough, or my email address could not be used for any such purposes. So all these things that we are trying to achieve right now. So if anybody wants to be part of, Shirazi, can I make you part of this workshop? I mean, I can just use your email address here from the GISPP one, if you may allow me.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay. Can you? Okay, so I'm just gonna. And your GISPP email address was S.Subhani, right?
Yes, yes.
This is SSUBHANI at GISPP.org, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm just gonna, just in the essence of time, I'm not adding much more. I'm not adding more users, but just here.
Some people are sending the email addresses in the chat. You can take it from there also.
Oh, excellent. That's great. But I think I would like to, why not I use their email address to use, why not I use their email address to send an email to myself when I do the reverse phishing test? Because I know it's about 1 hour that we have, and I just want to quickly, go through this use case. So I think that's pretty much done. I'm just going to save this file now. So the organization setup is almost ready. So I'm just going to import the users in it. And once the users are imported, I could see a few hands being raised. I'm just going to answer those. I'm just going to take those questions, but just in the essence of time, I just want to wrap up this user import. Okay, excellent. So now once this is done, if you see an organization has been created, which has multiple departments, IT security, which has myself in it as a user, IT, which has got my colleague Awais, then I've got sales, and then I've got procurement. So I've just like a demo or a pseudo organization that I've created, and Shahzadi, you are part of the procurement team that we have in this organization setup. So the organization setup is ready. Now coming quickly to the first part of this simulation, I'm just going to run two use cases combined in the essence of time. That what if somebody is trying to send you a phishing email that relates to COVID-19, and or should you want to test the behavior of your end users by sending them a simulated phishing email, that if they receive some email from World Health Organization or some kind of an incentive, whether they would click it or not. In order to do that, these templates are already available. Or you could use any other tool, by the way. I mean, PhishRod is one of them. There are other multiple tools available, but the whole point is that how do we, determine the end user behavior? So for that purpose, if you go here in the templates library, you would be able to find multiple templates related to different events, different industries, different domains. For example, this so here in PhishRod we have already provided these as built-in. As I mentioned again, for all the participants who would want to use them, they are absolutely available to you, and you could use them. For example, this one, WHO safety measures. So this is one template that is already available, and you could customize it, and you could use this template and try and send this to all your staff and see if they click and what's their behavior. So in order to use that template, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my templates and try and edit that template. So just to make it more, so all you need to do is use the existing content, change whatever way you like, and just write this script, $, name, $. What it does, it actually personalizes this. So anyone who would receive it, he would have his own name on it, and then any salutation that you would want to change, and that's all. The template is updated. Now the next step is actually to send this phishing email or a test phishing email to all the end users and see if they receive it first. The second part, if what's the behavior, do they click it, do they not? So in order to create a phishing campaign, or to determine if I can receive this phishing email or not, I'm just gonna run a campaign, and let's say I'll call this campaign GISPP phishing test. Now this is interesting, that I would now like to request anyone, because I could see there's a lot of volunteers who are trying to give in their names to be part of the campaign. But here, this is an interesting request. What I want is that I am requesting any one of my volunteers to actually give me their name and email address, and I will try to send an email from their email address to mine. So and see if I'm able to land in their email address, or an email from their name and ID on my mailbox, or Shehzad's, or the ones that are already part of this campaign. So Shehzadi, what should we do? Should we ask the audience? Should I just make up an email address, or if there is anybody who would like to be part of this?
Okay, some people have put the addresses, we can use them.
Oh, lovely. Okay, excellent. I mean, it's just a test, guys. I just wanted to confirm, so no harm, no damage, nothing would be happening. It is just a test. If I can pick up, why can I not pick up my chats? Sorry, my bad. Oh, okay. As long as this is a valid email ID. But sir, I'm sorry, I would have loved to, but okay, you want that? Perfect. So let's just try and use this. So I'm just going to use Mohammed Y Bhatti, and use this email address. So here, what I'm going to do is the sender name. Sorry, I'm just going to put up the sender email is this, and
okay, bye. I'm going away.
That's it. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm using Mohammed's email and his name to send an email to all staff, the one for this organization. So all four of us, myself, my colleague Awais, Kate, Shehzad, and Harun, they all should receive this email. So once the name and the domain has been selected, the one that you would want to test, again, keep in mind the objective. The objective is that we want to test our domain. We want to test that if a COVID-19 related phishing scam lands into our mailbox, how vulnerable our end employees are. Would they click? Would they not? Would they identify? So the first part is that the users are selected. The next part is to actually select the template. Now, once I select the template, this is the one that I picked up, COVID-19 phishing, one, which actually was here. This COVID-19 safety measures. This was the one that I picked up. Now you could run it in 3 ways. One is that you could run the phishing test in stealth mode. When you run it in stealth mode, what it means is that once a mail lands in, the user clicks in, nothing happens, no message appears, but at the end of at the back end, you would be able to pull up all the analytics, and the second part is only landing on a text-based awareness. So the end user clicks it, only a landing page appears, and on that page, they can have this information. The third part is, do you want to, associate any kind of video? So I'm just going to put in a video too here that could be available in English as well as in Arabic. So that's all. So now the users are selected, the COVID-19 phishing template is selected, and I'm just going to run this now. So before I run this, I would need to get it approved, because if you remember, I put my email address as the administrator. So here is one. So if you see here now, the administrator would receive an approval email that this email is going out, to these many people. Do you want to approve this campaign? And I would say, yes, I would want to approve it. So if you see here now, without the approval, I cannot execute this campaign. The moment I execute, I do the approvals, I should be able to execute the campaign. So so the campaign is now out. The next interesting part that remains to be seen is that, do I receive any such email, or Shehzad, do you receive any such email from the email address that we used?
I've got it.
You got it? Excellent. So I've got it too. So I guess, Mohammad Sahab, you got a case to make to your organization now. I think regardless of the point, how the email lands, how it does not, the question is that there's an email that has landed into the mailbox. And if you see here, this looks like a very genuine email coming from World Health Organization, right? So if you see, I reply to this email, the email address, appears absolutely genuine. It's coming from the same domain, it's coming from the same name. Now let's see what happens when the end user tries to click that link. So when the end user tries to, because I'm sorry, I just used the other link. So when the end user tries to, click that link, a message appears, and with that message, a video also appears that this was a phishing test, and your organization has been phished. So you could make a landing page appear.
What is phishing? Starting with the basic definition, phishing is an illegal attempt to acquire sensitive information, such as usernames, passwords, financial data details, such as debit or credit card information.
I think that's beyond the point. What I actually wanted to show you is the power of the analytics. For example, how do you make a case in front of the management that yes, we are vulnerable to such kind of phishing emails? Now, when that happens, you could go back into the analytics and the phishing simulator, and you could see different kind of analytics. For example, department-wise details, organization-wise details. Who are the people who are clicking the most? Who are the people who are most vulnerable to such COVID-19 phishing scams? So you could pull up nice reports from there. I won't spend much time here because I have actually more things to share with you. So all those kind of wonderful analytics you could pull up, that for this particular campaign, my organization's phishing index remains 4.65, and these are the 6 people who clicked. Who are most vulnerable ones? So who are those 6 people who are the most vulnerable ones? So you would be able to pull up the results and and the details of all those campaigns from here. I can go on more and talk about those, but I think the agenda is very specific. So the first part of this workshop that we completed is that yes, phishing scams are for real. Regardless of whatever kind of technology that you've been using, not only you could receive phishing emails, but your email address could also be compromised. And that is the first step where you should begin, is to, and as they say, that half of the solution lies in actually identifying the problem. So if you know that the end users are vulnerable to such phishing campaigns, we should run such kind of tests and determine the end user behavior, like the way I just did in front of you. There are multiple phishing templates that are available. You could use them. And as I said, for up to 200 users, all these templates, all these 400 templates are available. You could continue to use them as much as you would want to. And so once this is done, what should be the next step? So I'll go back next into the slide. So the first part is putting technology controls to test. That's something that we've already done. that we did test that yes, I was able to land in a phishing email, the domain got compromised, and a phishing COVID-19 related scam email, we were able to land into the mailbox. The next part, that how prepared my organization is to deal with such kind of scams. So the phishing simulation test would have been done. I've already done that for you. The next part, once you know that out of the 400 people that I have in my organization, 30% of the people are the ones who repeatedly click on such emails, bringing vulnerabilities to my organization, what could be done related to it? The next part would be that you could help them, aware them. Now, we all know, I think that I've got a very valid, question from here. I'll take all those questions one by one, but just to answer this question, which is very specific related to DMARC. Yes, DMARC could help. And by the way, for all those 18 million scams that were related to WHO, Google was the one who actually went down to WHO and asked them that you should have DMARC in place. But the agony of the fact is that less than 18% of the websites, the enterprise websites have got DMARC controls in place. So until or unless you got DMARC in place, it's hello yeah to all these domains. So getting quickly back onto the awareness part, we're not working anymore in the normal organization setup where we could go and educate people. So the only thing that you could do right now is to use some kind of an online means, because the issue that we have is a two-prong right now. So one is that awareness needs to be given as part of IT security. It's the awareness that should be given on COVID-19, and also awareness should also be given on campaigns such as how to avoid such phishing scams and how do we report them to. So in the next part of it now, for all those people who already have a learning management system in place, they could use this CBT that we have developed. And you could use this CBT, import it, and could start using it immediately. For those who do not have, as I mentioned earlier, we are providing a 200 user free license for the LMS part 2. So let me just quickly show you how this LMS works and how could you aware your end users on COVID-19 as well as on how to report any such incidents that relate to COVID-19. So if you go into the awareness manager, you would be able to manage the module. So here in PhishRod, we have recently developed a computer-based training module that relates to COVID-19 and cybersecurity awareness related to COVID-19. So one way it is unique is that it covers COVID-19 awareness, which is the general awareness relates to health and safety, and at the same time it talks about safety on cybersecurity standpoint. So I've already got the package here, and I'm just going to upload the package, and this is how exactly you are going to do it once you have your license, should you want to avail it. So this package is more like a zip file, about a 10 GB file, about a 10 MB file. So this is the COVID package that we have. So the moment it gets uploaded, it would take about like 30 seconds or a minute depending on my internet connection. So the moment it is uploaded, immediately you would be able to start using it and start assigning it to all your staff, just exactly the way we did the phishing tests. So I'm just going to quickly wait for this CBT to load, and so we could load it. Sorry, my bad. It says my internet connection is a little unstable. So while this is actually loading up, I can actually show you the content of this, of this training module. So you would be able to, see what it actually contains. So if you want to run it in the application, it would run. But if you really want to open it and see the content, just unzip it. There is a file in there, which is index.com. So the moment this file opens up, it actually takes you through to the entire details. So I'm just going to let this CBT run for about 3 minutes. It's a CBT it's a training module for about 3 to 5 minutes. But how powerful could it be? I'll show you the results at the end. But this is again on the awareness side, on how do we create awareness for COVID-19, and at the same time, how do we aware our end users that if they receive any such phishing scams, how do they report it and how they can spot those? So here it begins.
Identify and report COVID-19 related phishing scams. Stay safe and secure. Guidelines for safety against COVID-19. What is COVID-19? Coronavirus, COVID-19, is a respiratory illness that can spread from person to person. It is transmitted through respiratory droplets where the infected person develops symptoms of cold, flu, and cough. World Health Organization has officially declared this viral disease a pandemic. Here are a few symptoms of coronavirus: dry cough, body aches, fever, flu, breathing difficulties. How does it spread? COVID-19 is a highly contagious virus and it is transmitted from one person to the other in the following ways: direct or close contact with an infectious person, respiratory droplets produced when an infectious person coughs or sneezes, touching objects or surfaces contaminated from an infected person. Preventive measures. Every one of us has to play an important role in limiting the spread of COVID-19. Here are a few preventive measures that we should adopt. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Clean and disinfect frequently used objects, that is keyboard, cell phone. Use an effective sanitizer to keep your hands disinfected at all times. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice social distancing and avoid crowded places. Isolate yourself and don't go to work if you are experiencing symptoms. Applying safety guidelines for COVID-19. Should you feel like sneezing, what is the recommended way to do so?
Now, these kind of computer-based training modules that we have, I mean, they generally, follow some kind of interactivity. So the end user has to give, any option. So,
which of the following is the right implementation of social distancing?
for example, if I choose the wrong option,
COVID-19 phishing scams. While the world is struggling to control the virus, there are hackers around trying to cash in the opportunity. There is a massive surge in websites related to COVID-19 that are being used as a phishing scam. How to recognize and avoid COVID-19 phishing scams. Hackers are taking full advantage of the chaos and panic created by COVID-19. As end users are desperate for updates, they can easily be lured into clicking on phishing emails. Here are a few helpful tips to stay cyber safe. Report emails impersonating the World Health Organization or government agencies asking you to provide personal information. Hover your mouse over the email links and attachments to see where they lead. Keep a lookout for grammatical and spelling errors. Report suspicious emails that create a sense of urgency or offer COVID-19 cures. Amid coronavirus outbreak, AMNA receives an email from World Health Organization with an offer to get tested for free. The email asked her to click on the attachment and enter her details in order to avail the free COVID-19 test. She clicked on the attachment and suddenly, multiple browsers began popping up on her screen. What do you think have happened?
so at the end, there would be some kind of a quiz in which, she or he has to give the answers. And based on that, a certificate, generally is given. So that was probably, I was trying to run it out of the system. And but the same could be assigned using, the LMS feature, which I'll just show you quickly. So once the user takes the quiz, she is or he is informed of her score, that's a score she has done, and then a certificate is assigned. So that's generally, the entire, so that's the module that is available to all of you. Should you want to use it, just request us and we will be able to provide that module to you. While this is happening, in the meantime, I hope the module is already up. So I'm just gonna save this module. So the module is now saved. If you see here, it should have been here somewhere, COVID-19. Sorry, I missed, yep, I just missed it out. Yeah, that's there. So now I'm just going to use the LMS part of PhishRod to actually assign this awareness. I'm just trying to, in short, I'm just trying to do this automation to send this to all the users. Now, if this module has already been uploaded in your packages, then the easiest is that you can create an awareness campaign, just like the same way I did the phishing test. I will just assign, you can assign this. Whatever email address that you would want to use. And once I select the organization, I would be able to select the users. And then the module, which is the COVID-19, this one. And the due date that you would like the users to finish. For example, today is the 1st or 2nd, and you would like the users to finish it on the 15th. If you want to take the feedback, that's it. The module would be assigned, and each end user would receive an email that they have been assigned this module, and they would like to, and the security team is actually requesting them to go through this. So similarly, an approval email, the administrator would receive that this awareness module is being assigned. That's done, and the moment it is refreshed, Shadalbi, if you could verify that now you have received a module that has been assigned to you. So what it actually does, it automates the entire awareness program. It actually sends all the content and sends it to them. So this module is available should you want to use it. The end user would receive an email like this. So this is an email that the end user receives. Clicks here and he's taken to the dashboard. So this is the end user dashboard on which he goes and attempts his module. So once the end user goes through that, he is, on the analytics part, you would be able to see all the analytics related to that particular module that you assigned it to. 12,000 users in your organization, out of which 400 have completed, 300 have not even passed. Those who passed, they are given, a certificate at the end. So all those details, those can be captured here on the analytics part. So that's how you automate the awareness. So far I've covered two parts. I know that I've got only 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to run a few things up. So the first part, as part of the framework we've tested, is that we've tested the behavior of the end users. The second part is that we've done the awareness too, but that does not solve the problem. The phishing emails will continue to come, and there would be users who may not be able to even bother about these computer-based training modules. So for them, what do we do? For them, we need to have some kind of mechanism, some kind of a framework whereby at least we expect that if a phishing email has bypassed the controls, they should be able to report an email, or even if they don't report, once the mailbox is about to reach the inbox, the team should be identified that a phishing email has bypassed all the controls and this email has landed into the 4,000 end users. So for that particular purpose, there is two scenarios. One is where an end user proactively reports a phishing email. The second part is where the mailbox automatically identifies that there is a phishing email into the mailbox. So for that purpose, I'm just going to show you the other part of it, which is which is the capability that you would receive as part of this promotion, which relates to the Phishing Defense Center. For example, I'm just going to close all the windows down to ensure that this workflow we are able to. Yes, this one. So for example, this was the email that I just replicated that came from Yunus. Mohammed also knows that this is a fake phishing email, and this landed into the end user mailbox. Now the end user sees that, yes, I could see that it is not taking me to where it should take. It appears to me like a suspicious email. So how could we easily get this reported to the SOC team or to the primary incident analyst? So the terms that we use in PhishRod is the primary incident analyst and the secondary incident analyst. So in the configuration, we have configured this that if there, we would be able to provide you with an Outlook plugin which works for both 32, 64-bit, and any end user would be able to press this button. If you are able to see on my rightmost screen on the top, report this email. The moment an end user presses this button, report this email, that email automatically gets reported to the PhishRod primary analyst, which you obviously would have appointed. Now, this email has been reported successfully. What actually PhishRod does, that any email that gets reported, it automatically gets reported into this phishing defense center. So here, if you remember, I configured the primary analyst email address and the secondary analyst email in the configuration at the time of configuration. So the moment any COVID-19 related or any such phishing campaigns have been identified and they have been reported, you instantly the primary analyst gets instantly notified in the sorry, my bad, this has not been notified properly. I'll just have to do that again. Oh, my bad. Okay, it says already reported. Perfect. So I'm just gonna okay, my bad. Because why it is not showing here is because we reported it from this GISPP platform. So okay, sorry, my bad. So the point is that if there is any emails that the end user has reported, for example, this one, so if this is an email that the primary analyst has received, you would be able to instantly analyze and investigate. So what PhishRod does, it provides the capability of 2-3 built-in integration. Those integrations you could use. I'm sorry, I can just take a quick look at the chat box. Few questions have been popping up, thick and thin. Where have the questions gone? Okay, it's an internal email. Report any external email, please. Okay, so ZF wants me to report any external email. Perfect. So let me just quickly go back here and report any external email. Just a second, my friend. So let's say if this was right. So this is an email that is an external email, right? That has come to me and I would want to report it. So that's an email that I'm trying to report. So this email gets reported to me and it gets reported successfully. Now, the moment if you see that email, the one that I reported, the moment it gets reported, it would automatically be moved into the reported emails section in my outbox. So immediately it has been taken out from my outbox, from my inbox to my reported emails. Now, this is the email that I just reported. Now, the next thing that I would need to do, as I mentioned, that the administrator would be notified that, and a new email has been reported or a new incident has been reported. So if you see here, this one, Netflix info at the mailer, and if you would want to see that particular incident, who reported it, what time did it get reported, and who reported it. So this is exactly the email that came out. And by the way, this is an external email. Anybody wants to see so this is the view that is available to the primary analyst. The primary analyst wants to see the email header. He can have a look at it. If he wants to see the body of the email, he can also have a look at the body of the email, that this is what the email exactly looked like, which got reported. And then how many people who actually reported it. So all those, analysis are available here. May it be a COVID-19 or may it not be a COVID-19 email. I'm just trying to explain that there is a workflow available through which if you empower your end users to report such suspicious emails, they would be able to take an active part. The moment they reported, they would be immediately reported here to the primary analyst. Now, what the primary analyst could do, the primary analyst would have multiple things to do, like he would be immediately able to investigate. So what in PhishRod we have is the capability that you could investigate the attachments, the links, and the bodies through the 3 built-in integrations one with VirusTotal, one with PhishTank, and one with with Google Safe Browsing API. So instantly, the moment you analyze those things, the system extracts the links and the attachments from the reported email and scans them through PhishTank, Google Safe Browsing API, and VirusTotal. We are also in the process of getting the sandboxing integration done with Cuckoo and any other tools that that any particular organization already has. For example, even with their SIEM or SOC. So once this is done, at least the primary analyst gets to see that yes, the email that has been reported is not suspicious. It's a false positive. Immediately closes the case, and it goes, the reported resource gets notified that we have verified this is not a suspicious email. You can continue to work on that email. But should there be a case that it was a suspicious email, then you can put in your comments, that PhishTank reported it as a suspicious email. So once this has been reported as suspicious, the next step would be that how can we contain the damage? Now that we know that a phishing email has landed into 100, 200, 500 mailbox or end users, they have received it. What could be the first step that could be taken? Obviously, there has to be multiple ways that could be adopted. The way we are recommending is that for any phishing email that actually lands in, you could be able to take two routes. One is that obviously you do not want to depend only on the 2-3 engines that we provide. You would have more tools at your disposal. So this is where the secondary analyst comes into place. So the immediate step that you could do is to mark this email as quarantined. So the moment you press this button here, this email would be marked as quarantined. So what PhishRod Reporter plugin does, it scans the email from all the email boxes where the Reporter plugin is installed. It scans it, and takes it out, and within less than 30 seconds, all that particular reported phishing email has been taken out and is put into somewhere in a quarantine folder. Remember, it has not been deleted yet. It has been marked as quarantine, put somewhere hidden in a secret folder, so that the primary analyst who confirmed that this is a suspicious email, he hands over the case to the secondary analyst for further investigation. So two steps have taken place in parallel. One is that the email has been taken out from the mailbox. So if you see here now, the email that is available right now, if you see in my reported emails, that email would automatically move within 30 seconds into my quarantine. For the purpose of demonstration, I have made this available, but this quarantine folder available as visible, but that generally is a hidden folder. So all the emails from this particular email from all the mail user boxes would be taken out from the reported email and will be moved to a hidden quarantine folder. So once this is done, in parallel, the case is moved for secondary analysis. Now, what secondary analyst can do? The secondary analyst, of course, would have a lot more tools in place. It may be a SOC for those organizations who have like a very mature SOC. We already have. So the status is now that the secondary analysis have been requested, and the SOC would have a different interface. I mean, we generally don't use the word SOC because many small organizations don't have a SOC. We use the concept of a primary analyst or a secondary analyst. Now, in those cases, those who have SOC or have multiple log facilities and all those, they could have this workflow for the orchestrated response, whereby they would have received all the information about the incident. For example, this was the incident that was reported, and the details. So all those details of whatever the primary analyst did, they're available to them. Besides whatever it was already there, there is a complete track that at this particular time, 3:52 Pakistan time, Abid reported it. It was sorry, my bad. Few more people coming in. So at this particular time, it got reported. The primary analyst reported it suspicious only in 3 minutes. What was his recommendations? What were his findings? So all those findings, they appear here too. That he scanned it with PhishTank, Google Safe Browsing API, and a couple of other tools that he had. Now, based on his recommendation, we moved it into quarantine. And the next step is that still we are not sure, and we also want to make it confirmed. Mr. Secondary Analyst, you have the tools, you have the logs, you have all the wonderful logarithms, QRadars, and all those in place. Take this information and give us your verdict. What do you want to be done with this email? Now, the moment he analyzes and confirms, he first has to acknowledge the email that yes, I have received this case. And then he has two options, whether he can advise it as a safe email or he can advise it to be deleted. The moment he advises it that the email should be deleted, the primary analyst would be informed to actually take an immediate action, and he would be able to mark the email as deleted. The moment he presses delete here, that particular email would be deleted from all end user mailboxes. So that is how the whole workflow actually works. And what it does, it actually helps any organization to instantly take an action. While all those wonderful tools that you have are in place, at least the first step that you could do is to instantly verify and take an input from threat intelligence feeds such as PhishTank and Google Safe Browsing API and VirusTotal, and then immediately take an evasive action, move the emails to quarantine. And last step would be to actually delete the mail from all the user mailboxes. So that way, it actually it helps to take instantly take an action, a preemptive action against any phishing email. My bad that I was not able to actually take off the COVID-19 related email right now because I was not part of that group. Hence, I had to use another example. So that way, it actually closes the complete incident loop. So if you see here now, once those emails have been deleted, there is a complete track that this is the way that the entire incident spanned. While there are a few more questions, I can take up. All right, it's fair enough. Thanks for the comments. And if fine, so that way, it actually helps to report or delete any kind of suspicious emails. Now, there is one more last use case which I also want to talk about, is actually the policy compliance. So while all of us are working from home, I just want to also, I wished it would have been a live session where I could have asked this question, that while we are all working from home, how many organizations of us have actually got a work from home policy? And how many of the end users do they actually understand a work from home policy? And how many of the end users have actually given their consent for a work from home policy? So if any one of you is interested to actually create a work from home policy for their end users from a cybersecurity standpoint, assign that policy to them, take their consent and map it, and probably show it to the management that we had this wonderful policy developed and we send this policy to 200 users in my organization, out of which 180 have provided their consent, as part of the legal consent. So that is something that we could do, and I could show, I could demonstrate that capability, that you could use that, use case once you have the promo campaign from PhishRod at your place. So Shalabhi, do we have time? Can I take another 10 minutes? If
no problem, sir. No problem. Take your time.
So if that is allowed, okay, fine. So now the last use case that I want to run is related to work from home policy if you want to assign. So the first part is that, do we have a work from home policy? So what we did as part of this workshop campaign, I already created a work from home policy, which is more like a template. So you could use any of your template. If this is like a PDF document, generally what happens in any organization, you put together any communication, a wonderful policy or procedure or a guideline, you put it somewhere on a portal, and half of the audience does not even go through, and you have no visibility that this is the policy that we created, or at least this communication went out. Not many of us, we don't know that. So what we did, we actually developed a complete workflow around it, because the whole agenda was to keep it specific to work from home and the current scenario. So I'm just going to take one example of a work from home policy and try and assign it to all the end users and see how quickly and easily we can take consent from them. So this one work from home policy I've already got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly move in to the policy compliance manager of PhishRod, and you can create a project. So for example, this is a work from home project. Let's see, on awareness on this policy. I would just go quickly and create a policy, work from home. So I just created that project. So in that one particular project, you can put any different kind of policies. And just to give you a quick fact check that the same way I'm using this work from home policy for awareness, you could also use this for any ISO 27001, ISO 22301, or any kind of initiative. All you need is a project and multiple policies under it. Similarly, just for like ISO 27001. But hence here, the focus right now is on work from home. So I've created this project, work from home GISSP, and in that project, I would want to create a policy that I would want to push it to all the end users and take their consent. So here I can create a new policy. So I just, which project it was work from home project. The policy name is, let's say, work from home. This is the policy that I'm trying to push. It's a document, it's a policy. So I'll just select this policy. And once the end users go through it and take a quiz on it, what passing score do you want to put? I would want to put, a 90% scoring. The next step that you would need to do is to upload the policy document. It's a simple PDF document that I already have. So it's a PDF that I would import. So once that PDF document is imported, you can define key points. Now, why those key points are important, I will show it to you in a bit, because nobody would like, at times, none of the end users like to go through a 5-10 pager document. So whatever the extracts of that policy are, you can put those as nice learning points here. So there has to be minimum 3 or maximum as many as you want. So I'll just put 3 work from home policy guidelines or points that I could use here. For example, password must not be shared with anyone while working from home. That was one point. I can put a couple more points. Do not copy corporate data to your personal laptop. And the last point is do not install unwanted software. That's it. I'm just, as an example, I've put those 3 key points. So those 3 key points I've defined, and then should you want that once the end user clicks on a policy link, the policy loads up, the key points load up, and then there has to be a quiz too. So you can define your own quiz for every part of the for any question that you would like to test them. What is the minimum password strength of policy? 6, 8, 10. The correct answer is 8. I just take 1, and I would like to add another one more question. You can create as many questions as you can. So once the policy is uploaded, the learning points have been defined, the quiz have been made. There is a complete workflow for approval as well. That if you would want it to be automatically approved, through an escalation process, the whole policy could be approved. But for the time being, I'm just going to run out. For the time being, I'm just going to quickly run this. So now we have got a project, under which there is a work from home policy. So using this assign policy feature, you could assign that policy to all the organization. So to create an effective way of communication. So this policy, let's say work from home, GISPP, and could be IT governance, your organization being sent by IT security at PhishRod.co. Create an organization GISP workshop to all the end users. And which policy was that? This was sorry, my bad. It was under this project. There was one policy which we have selected, done, we save it. The policy due date, I could give it the 20th, that before 20th, all the end users must go through this policy, otherwise it would be escalated and a non-compliance or a legal action could be taken. any message that you would want to send, the request for approval, just like the way I received the request for approval for the for the phishing campaigns, for the awareness campaign. There is a policy campaign approval also that I've received. So this is the policy that is going out with this message. And do I approve? Yes, I do. So the moment it is approved again, I would refresh it. And the campaign has been approved and executed. So let me just quickly see how do I receive this email. Sorry, my bad. Did I? Oh, executed. While I wait for this email, let me just quickly take a look at a few questions that are popping up. Sorry, my bad. Did I? I think there was a bit of a delay, so I'm just going to use this another template just to receive that. How does it receive? So if this was the policy, for example, that we just created, each end user will have their own demo. This is how the end user would receive it. I would just need to log out because I cannot be the administrator and I cannot be the end user. So once I log out, yeah, okay. So now I'm logged out, and this is the compliance policy that I'm trying to send to the end users. Once the end user clicks here, he would be taken to his dashboard where all the policies that you've assigned would already be available. So this is a policy that would pop up. For example, I'm just assuming right now that it was a corporate policy which talked about the passwords or the work from home, and this was the PDF document that would load up. If the end user is smart enough and he tries to skip that document and he says, I've understood the document, I don't need to go through, and I tried to click proceed, he would not be able to. So the policy points that I defined, they would be invoked. The password must be changed regularly, must contain characters and numbers, must be changed after 6 months, and that is not enough. At the end, they would be quiz, the ones that I just produced. So those quizzes would be there to take you through. So if the end user does not pass through the quiz or does not meet the 90% criteria that I defined, he would not be able to, he would not be admitted, he would not be allowed to, he would not be shown compliant. So that way it's a complete vicious process, and any policy that he has been assigned, for example this one, if you see here, this is the work from home policy. So that policy I tried to attempt. If I tried to skip it, it would not allow that. I do not use the company. So all the details, the learning points that are being invoked and being enforced. And at the end, there is a quiz, as I mentioned. So if I do not pass this, it would be like another vicious cycle, and I would not be allowed to, I would be shown non-compliant. And that would be also shown non-compliant all the way on to the end user dashboard too. That this is what his dashboard looks like on the awareness, on the compliance. How many emails is he reporting? Is it suspicious? Is it not? What are the policies? How much time is he taking? So all those kind of things that you could use as use cases to develop a complete framework that actually begins by testing the behavior of your end users, by testing your controls, by providing them awareness, by doing the automation of all the compliance, and by engaging them to report any suspicious emails and doing the complete analysis. So that's how we actually try to cover the holistic view and engage and actually integrate the people, the process, and the technology part. So with that, if you've got any questions, please feel free to answer. I know in an hour and a half, so that actually takes a bit of an effort to cover, but I think there are a few questions that are being answered. I can try and scroll back to the questions. So a few questions are that if there are any language support that we have. I think I just want to also emphasize on one part, friends. I know as much as many of us would believe that it was a product demo, it was a genuine heart-out effort from us to help the Pakistani organizations so that they could use the product, give their feedback, and also use it in the times. For example, this COVID-19 video, you could use it, to use it for your end staff. And as I've said, I've seen a lot of the product. This product has evolved in Pakistan. There is hardly any customer left in Pakistan in the banking and the enterprise and the telecom sector that we're not providing our services to. There are a lot of good friends and people who have contributed a great deal. If I continue to mention their names, trust me, the day wouldn't stop. There are many contributors in Qatar, in Pakistan, in UAE who have helped us, conceive this and take it forward. So the questions that I'm trying to answer is not more from a sales pitch point of view, but generally from an awareness point of view. That that yes, we do have an English plus Arabic language support. In terms of this, there is about like 150 plus customers that we have in the region. So we have beaten customers like Cofence, products like Cofence, Wombat, Proofpoint, KnowBefore. All these we have, given them a very hard time, and one of the largest customers. Is there any more questions that I would want to take? I think they're more of a compliments. Thank you very much for all your comments and compliments. I think it's just because of the feedback and the efforts that that have gone in. I've also got with me my colleague Jad Kirbani here on the call, who's also the co-founder, and the entire team. We are really, really thankful. And also just want to mention that this is the platform, and I want to take this liberty. The first customer that we got for PhishRod about 2 years back was also from the same platform. I think Faisal is not here, but Shell Aramco was the customer that we got from the same platform. And since then, it's been an ongoing trail. Saudi Airline, King Faisal Hospital, and a lot of ministries in Qatar, Qatar Petroleum, Aramco, PepsiCo. So all these wonderful, so with that, I think, Shadalbi, if you want to put up any concluding notes, I want to thank you and the GISPP team. I want to thank the entire PhishRod team too, who has been there and around. And I appreciate all the support that we've garnered so far.
Thanks a lot, Abil bhai. बहुत अच्छा लगा, सेशन अच्छा हो गया इंशाल्लाह. बाकी लोगों को काफी मतलब पहले भी कई लोगों ने अटेंड किया सेशन PhishRod का, तो अभी दोबारा हमने किया, उसको एक मखसूस उसके वर्कशॉप के हवाले से देखा हमने, स्पेसिफिक जैसे यूज केस बना के देखा. तो दूसरी बात ये, जो आपका लाइसेंस की है, तो जिसको चाहिए वो हमसे रब्ता कर ले ईमेल के जरिए. तो आपके अपनी कंपनी में कोशिश करें इसका डेमो तो करवाएं कम से कम, ताकि वहाँ पे लोग इसको देखें. और ये दो चीजें जो हैं, ये पॉलिसी कंप्लायंस, ये भी बहुत, ये गवर्नेंस के लिए काफी काम की चीज है कि वो इस तरह से को ट्रैक रख सकते हैं कि लोगों को पॉलिसीज का पता है कि नहीं, वो क्विज बना सकते हैं छोटे छोटे. आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी गुड थिंग. तो अगर हम इवन अगर आप ये से स्टार्ट करें, अपने गवर्नेंस के डिपार्टमेंट्स को बताएं इसके बारे में, तो आई थिंक दिस विल बी वेरी गुड थिंग फॉर देम आल्सो. स्पेशली सिमुलेशन का भी आजकल बहुत ज्यादा है. They want to know how many people are aware, how many people will click. So all these solutions जो हैं, ये इन सब के लिए जरूरी होंगे. तो आबिद भाई एक सवाल है, ये जो 200 लाइसेंस आप देंगे किसी को, do they have to install software on their side, or they have to use your?
No, Shelby, it's a web-based. We support both cloud-based as well as on-prem. But for this particular promotion, what we are doing is this will be a cloud-based license. All anybody needs to do is drop an email to us. I've just put my email address in there. They can just address the email to me or to any of my colleagues who they know. For example, I know if Thwart is there, who looks after Qatar. Dishan is there, who looks after the region. Awais is there, looks after Saudi. And Harun is there, who looks after UAE. So they can contact them, or they can contact just this on this email address, Harun's, mine's, or anyone's. They will be able to get back to them. और उसमें हम उनको एक 200 यूजर का लाइसेंस दे देंगे. That will be for 3 months, which will have 100% features. The one that I've showed you, all phishing templates, अवेयरनेस मॉड्यूल्स होंगे उसके अंदर आप अपनी पॉलिसी कंप्लायंस रन कर सकेंगे, रिपोर्टर प्लगइन होगा, रिपोर्ट कर सकेंगे ईमेल्स, वेरीफाई कर सकेंगे, जितना मैंने पूरा वो यूज केस जो है ना अभी रन किया है। इसके अलावा वी हैव आल्सो विल प्रोवाइड सर्टिफिकेट्स। मैं इसके तमाम सर्टिफिकेट्स भी आपसे शेयर कर लूंगा। For those people who participated in that workshop, we already have got their emails and names listed. The team was working on it. और उसके साथ हम उनके तमाम सर्टिफिकेट्स जो हैं they will be provided to them digitally, which will have this will be GISSP and PhishRod together.
अच्छा आबिद भाई, इसमें ये जो अगर क्लाउड से होगा तो उसमें डेटा तो कोई नहीं है कस्टमर का आपके पास?
हमारे पास सिर्फ और सिर्फ ईमेल एड्रेस आता है जी, दैट्स इट। हम सिर्फ और सिर्फ
ऑलरेडी पब्लिक इंफॉर्मेशन।
एग्जैक्टली। तो अगर आप फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई भी अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर अगर कोई ईमेल रिपोर्ट करता है, ठीक है, उस ईमेल का तमाम डेटा वो सारा का सारा आपके पास रहता है, हमारे पास नहीं आता। आप फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कोई ऐसा फिशिंग टेम्पलेट रन किया कोविड-19 से रिलेटेड जिसमें कोई फॉर्म फिल करवाया, कोई पासवर्ड वगैरह लेने की कोशिश की, तो वो किसी टाइप का ऐसा डेटा हम लोग स्टोर नहीं करते। हम सिर्फ और सिर्फ क्लिक का रिजल्ट स्टोर करते हैं कि क्लिक किया, कितने बजे किया, किस आईपी से किया, दैट्स इट।
चलिए सही है सर। आई थिंक इससे काफी लोगों को मजीद अंदाजा हो गया कि थोड़ा मुझे क्लैरिफाई हो गया होगा कैसे चलता है। अच्छा, इसमें कुछ लोग नए हैं जो गिस्प के नहीं हैं। ज्यादातर लोगों को तो मैं जानता हूँ, आई कैन सी द नेम्स। ज्यादातर लोग तो हमारे मेंबर्स हैं। तो जो इसमें अगर कोई नॉन मेंबर्स हैं तो उनको लिए इतना थोड़ा सा बता दूं कि ये गिस्प स्टैंड फॉर ग्लोबल इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी सोसाइटी फॉर प्रोफेशनल्स ऑफ पाकिस्तान। हमारी वेबसाइट है gisp.org। और अगर आबिद भाई गिव मी अ मिनट, आई जस्ट शेयर वन स्लाइड हियर।
प्लीज ऑल योर्स।
जस्ट वन पेज की एक स्लाइड है, वो उसमें थोड़ा लोगों को दिखाने के लिए। लेट मी ओपन इट।
आबिद भाई एक क्वेश्चन है, उतनी देर में पूछ सकते हैं आपसे?
हाँ जी, सवाल पूछ लें आप।
हाँ, जो सऊदी अरब में इनकी कुछ अरामको की मैं सुनता रहता हूँ स्टोरीज, उनसे एक तो दफा ज्यादा डिटेल में सुनी। दे आर प्रमोटिंग के दैट प्रोडक्ट शुड बी इन प्रेम। तो उस केस में हाउ यू विल सपोर्ट दोस गाइस इफ somebody is looking for in prem product instead of cloud based? Like in Saudi Arabia, probably they have this specific requirement. So like how we are dealing with that type of clients with this product?
Sorry, so what's your good name?
मोहम्मद यूसुफ भट्टी बोल रहे हैं सारा। सॉरी छू मारे आप, मतलब ये
But actually on premise, that is one of the reason of PhishRod success actually, कि हम लोग on premise को ही support भी करते हैं। So उसमें हमारी local team है सऊदीया के अंदर, वो जहाँ कहीं भी डिप्लॉयमेंट करनी होती है they would go। हमारे जितने भी मेजर बड़े कस्टमर्स हैं ये तमाम के तमाम ऑन प्रेमिस ही हैं, और यही वजह थी एक बहुत बड़ी सक्सेस की PhishRod की। और उसमें आपको चाहिए क्या, वो आई थिंक कुछ एक हार्डवेयर वगैरह की डिटेल्स हैं। मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली 2 सर्वर्स आर रिक्वायर्ड। उनकी स्पेसिफिकेशंस आपसे वो मेरे कलीग शेयर कर लेंगे, मैं शेयर कर लूंगा। तो वो तमाम वो सिस्टम आपके पास ऑन प्रेमिस पे होस्ट हो सकता है 100%। हमारी इनफैक्ट 50% के करीब मिडिल ईस्ट में डिप्लॉयमेंट्स हैं ही ऑन प्रेमिस।
बट साहब जो है ना फ्री लाइसेंस, ये इसकी बात कर रहे हैं कि क्लाउड पे देंगे जस्ट फॉर डेमो पर्पस, लेकिन जो एक्चुअल सॉल्यूशन आप अगर बाय करते हैं तो वो आप डिप्लॉय कर सकते हैं ऑन प्रेमिसेस।
कोई बात नहीं शहजाद भाई, हमें हाँ ये ऑन प्रेमिसेस डेमो भी दे देंगे, टेंशन नहीं।
नहीं वो दे देंगे,
अच्छा।
वो भी देंगे, हाँ वो देते हैं पहले।
नहीं उसकी रीजन ये है, ये कंपनी दुबई गवर्नमेंट की है। एनीवेज तो ये बात की स्टोरी है, उसको छोड़ दे। अच्छा, दूसरा मैंने सवाल ये पूछना था। हाँ
जी बोलिए।
हाँ, दूसरा सवाल मेरा ये था कि प्रोडक्ट लाइक जो ईमेल है वो हमारी क्लाउड पे पड़ी हुई है, और ईमेल जो है सॉरी आपका फिशिंग वाला, वी वांट इट ऑन प्रेम, सो इट विल वर्क राइट विद इट हैज हाइब्रिड मोड, इट कैन, बिकॉज जो ऑन प्रेम मोस्टली लोग लेते हैं वो लेते हैं उनका एक्सचेंज भी ऑन प्रेम है, उसकी प्रोडक्ट भी ऑन प्रेम है, विच इज फाइन। आई मीन आप फिशिंग के लिए आप जो भी यूज कर रहे हैं, इट इज बोथ आर ऑन प्रेम। लेकिन अगर एक क्लाउड पे है और दूसरा ऑन प्रेम है, देन ये काम करेगा उस पे?
जी, उस पे हाइब्रिड मोड पे हम लोग उसको वी कैन मेक इट वर्क।
ओके
आबिद भाई गिव मी द ऑप्शन टू शेयर माय स्क्रीन
प्लीज।
आपको स्टॉप करना पड़ेगा, फिर मैं कर सकता हूं।
I will stop sharing and so now you let me just make you the host. There you go.
बस हो गया, हो जाएगा.
Thank you.
I think people can see now. सर this is just a small
Yes,
summary,
sure.
one page slide है, ठीक है. तो 2016 में हम लोग लॉन्च हुए थे यहाँ पे. हमने बल्कि वो फर्स्ट फॉर्मल सा है, सर्कल ऑफ फ्रेंड्स से स्टार्ट किया था हमने. तो अभी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह यूएई में भी हमारे मेंबर्स हैं, हर जगह पे हैं इस वक्त. तो जैसे नीचे आप थोड़ा देख सकते हैं, वेबसाइट हमारी gisp.org. व्हाट्सएप में हमारे पास ग्लोबल ग्रुप्स हैं 2-3, 722 मेंबर्स वहाँ पे हैं. केएसए में हमारे ग्रुप फुल है हमारा. यूएई में हमारे 137 मेंबर्स हैं. अबू धाबी में 15 है. कतर में हमारे 99 मेंबर्स हैं. आबिद भाई, आपका जो कतर का बंदा है वो हमारे ग्रुप में शायद है कि नहीं, देख लीजिएगा. नहीं है तो उसको मैं ऐड कर सकते हैं.
Basically,
I don't remember any इफ्तिखार from PhishRod, लेकिन अगर वहाँ है तो बता दीजिएगा, हम उसको ऐड कर लेंगे.
Sure.
कराची में अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, लाहौर में, इस्लामाबाद में हमारा है. अच्छा, अभी नए लोग भी आ रहे हैं, काफी सारे लोग हमारे यूएसए, कनाडा, यूरोप के हमारे 40 मेंबर्स हैं, मुख्तलिफ कंट्रीज में फैले हुए हैं. ओमान में 25 हैं, तो कुवैत में है 29, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में. बाकी मतलब इस तरह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कोशिश हमारी यही है कि हम और ज़्यादा उसको फैलाएंगे. तो अगर आप पाकिस्तान में हो, पाकिस्तानी किसी कंपनी में इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी में हो और आपको गिस्प का नहीं पता, तो नाउ आप हमें कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते हैं हमारी वेबसाइट के जरिए या फेसबुक के पेज के जरिए, कहीं से भी कर सकते हैं रब्ता इंशाल्लाह. ठीक है सर. तो होपफुली द ऑब्जेक्टिव से यही है कि हम सबको, लोगों को, एक दूसरे को आपस में एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आए और नॉलेज एक्सचेंज करें, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज शेयर करें, टेक्निकल स्किल्स शेयर करें. अभी आबिद भाई से मैं अभी मजीद बात करूंगा, शायद हम मजीद कुछ कोशिश कर सकें फिशरॉड का कोई ट्रेनिंग अगर लोगों के लिए हम करवा सकें कुछ.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम शहजाद भाई, एक मेरा क्वेश्चन भी है.
जी.
ये लास्ट हमने जब डिनर किया था, मुनीर में बात कर रहा हूँ. लास्ट हमने डिनर किया था 1 साल हो गया. तो उस वक्त तो प्रॉमिस किया गया था कि आपको लर्निंग के लिए एक पोर्टल दिया जाएगा, आईडी दी जाएगी, लेकिन साल गुजर गया, वो अभी लर्निंग के लिए कुछ दी नहीं, कुछ चीज नहीं देगी किसी
नहीं. वो पर्सनल फॉलो नहीं कर सके ऑनेस्टली. मैं भी वो बात अभी देखते हैं इंशाल्लाह ताला. आबिद भाई
सर $100 फीस रखें और वो पोर्टल बन जाता है बड़े आराम से. जिस बंदे ने आना है वो आके लर्निंग पोर्टल उनको प्रॉपर मिल जाएगा. इफ दे कैन नॉट गो टू द फ्री चैनल ऑफ GISPP, ऑनेस्टली शहजाद भाई ये मेरी सजेशन है. GISPP का एक रखें और उसको ट्राई टू गेट दैट. वो क्या होते हैं वो जो
सर, जब उन्होंने प्रॉमिस,
देखें
जब उन्होंने प्रॉमिस किया था कंपनी ने कि फ्री में देंगे, तो $100 क्यों आप लगवा रहे हैं?
नहीं, वो दे देंगे इंशाल्लाह ताला.
फ्री डॉलर वो उर्दू अकेडमी में है.
Shirad bhai, we
can के साहब भी हैं यहाँ पे क्या?
जी बिल्कुल. I think we can take it up, Shirad bhai. इसको मैं अभी डिस्कस कर लेता हूँ.
हाँ जी.
और I think we can get back to you on this. Not an issue. I think वो थोड़ा सा there had been some confusion around it. That's something that we can take it up.
सर एक चीज बात करना चाहूंगा. देखें, जितने भी लोग आपकी प्रोडक्ट के एक्सपर्ट होंगे उतनी प्रोडक्ट ज्यादा सेल होगी. लोगों को सीखना चाहिए. जैसे सिस्को है, वो लोगों को ट्रेनिंग देती है, सब कुछ करती है. लोग सिस्को पे क्यों जाते हैं, पालोवर्ल्ड पे क्यों जाते हैं? इसलिए जाते हैं. लिहाजा जितने ज्यादा लोगों को सिखाएंगे आपकी चीजें बिकेंगी. लोगों को ट्रेनिंग करवाएं.
मैं भी एक पॉइंट ऐड करूंगा प्लीज. शफीक बात कर रहा हूं मैं आबिद शायद में जानते हो. मैं भी हम जो है वो फिशरॉड के सम उन यूजर्स में जो पाकिस्तान में ये प्रोडक्ट यूज करते हैं, पाक सुजुकी. तो मैं भी आबिद, आप सुन रहे हैं?
जी प्लीज. आई एम शफीक भाई.
सो इट्स गुड प्रोडक्ट. मैं कोई जाहिर सी बात है यहाँ पर प्रोडक्ट में मतलब इस प्रेजेंटेशन में पूरा मौजूद रहा और हमने इस प्रोडक्ट को अराउंड 1 ईयर पूरा यूज किया. एंड इट्स गुड प्रोडक्ट, अच्छी प्रोडक्ट थी. नो डाउट के उस वक्त शायद इतनी मैच्योर नहीं थी, लेकिन अब ज्यादा मैच्योर हो गई है. जो स्क्रीन्स मुझे अब नजर आई ये ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव है, ज्यादा अच्छी हैं, ज्यादा बेहतर हैं. हमने बीच में उसको डिसकंटिन्यू कर दिया था, लेकिन फिर इंशाल्लाह हमारा प्लान है कि हम इस साल फिर दोबारा से इसको लेकर करेंगे. तो इट्स अ गुड प्रोडक्ट. हमने भी इसलिए लिया था कि एक तो ये पाकिस्तान की प्रोडक्ट थी और एज कम्पेयर टू इसकी जो सारे फीचर्स थे वो, और दूसरे जो फिशिंग के जो टूल्स हैं उनमें काफ़ी हद तक चीज़ें सेम थी और प्राइस एज काफ़ी हमें रिजनेबल मिली थी. अब आई डोंट नो अभी मैंने प्राइस की बात नहीं यहाँ पर की अब क्या है, लेकिन बट एनीवे ये प्राइस हमें बहुत अच्छे मिले थे.
सर, बीइंग पाकिस्तानी, हम पाकिस्तानी प्रोडक्ट को प्रमोट करने के लिए, सपोर्ट करने के लिए तैयार बैठे हैं. लेकिन बात वही है कि जितने ज्यादा एक्सपर्ट होंगे आपके, उतनी ज्यादा सेल होगी। आप इंजीनियर्स को ट्रेन करवाएं,
I will
इंजीनियर्स
have
को
a
कोर्स दें, ठीक है?
I will have a Kashif, Shafiq bhai, I'll have a discussion with Shehzad on this, especially on जो भी हमारी discussion हो रही थी उस हवाले से, content के हवाले से। बल्कि इसमें just one thing that I would also like to highlight, आपने screens का कहा, interface का कहा, ये product जो है ना यार, ये बनाना एक total ये evolution होता है। Honestly, if you ask me, अगर हम आज से 4 साल पहले जो PhishRod की screens थी वो जाके देखें ना अगर, so I still have saved them somewhere. I have also got my colleague Sajjad Kirmani sir is here. So when we discuss, so at times we just laugh on those screens कि यार ये भी screens थी कभी. So it's a constant ongoing evolution which we are trying to evolve. Already in 3 years time, I believe the product has come a long way, and inshallah, it will go along.